Ikigai, purposeful living. Meet Yuki, a 24-year-old graphic design student who at age 20 felt completely lost and directionless. People with a strong sense of purpose live 15% longer according to Harvard research. The Japanese call this Ikigai, and it explains why Okinawa's oldest resident wakes up excited daily. Most people wake up without real purpose, go to class or work, come home, scroll TikTok, and repeat the cycle. Ikigai means your reason for being, what you love, what you're good at, what people need, what pays. Where all four meet is your Ikigai. But here's where everyone gets it completely wrong. Yuki realized her Ikigai was designing apps that helped students organize their chaotic schedules better. Scientists followed 43,000 people for 7 years and found strong Ikigai meant less heart disease. Yuki didn't quit school or have a dramatic moment. She just noticed what energized her versus drained her. Shinrin-Yoku, forest bathing. By 8 a.m., Yuki does something that transforms her mental health and stress levels completely. Your stress hormones drop 23% in just 20 minutes of this simple practice regularly. Japanese researchers tested 280 people across 24 forests and proved it works definitively. Trees release chemicals called phytoncides, which protect them from bugs and diseases attacking them naturally. Yuki walks slowly through the campus park using all 5 senses intentionally. See green leaves, hear wind, smell pine, touch bark, taste fresh air moving through lungs. When you breathe phytoncides in, your immune system gets stronger and better at fighting diseases and infections. She puts her phone on airplane mode, walks slowly for 20 minutes, and stops when something catches interest. Urban parks give 60 to 70% of the same benefits, and the power is in your attention. After discovering Shinrin-Yoku, she treats walks as non-negotiable appointments that clear her mind for creative work. Hara Hachi Bu, 80% full eating. At noon, Yuki's lunch routine looks completely different than it did a year ago when food comas ruined her afternoons. You're probably overeating by 400 calories daily without realizing because your brain takes 20 minutes to process fullness. The Okinawans figured this out centuries ago and built a simple practice around this biological fact. The Okinawans practice Hara Hachi Bu, which means eat until you're 80% full. Scientists gave monkeys 30% fewer calories, and those monkeys live significantly longer with less cancer. Yuki eats slowly and deliberately, puts her fork down between bites, and chews thoroughly 20 times. She stops when she thinks she could eat more, but doesn't actually need to right now. That uncomfortable feeling at 80% completely disappears within 10 minutes after she stops eating. Now she finishes lunch energized instead of sluggish, ready for her most creative design work. GEIKO, morning practice. At 5:30 a.m., before the world wakes up, Yuki has already claimed the most productive hour of her entire day. Haruki Murakami wrote 14 best-selling novels and wakes at 4 a.m. daily for 35 years straight. Your brain is measurably sharpest 2 to 4 hours after waking up each morning naturally. Harvard studied 90 executives and found ones with morning routines were 28% more productive. When you wake up, your body releases energy cortisol that gives natural alertness without needing coffee. Yuki uses this window to work on her design portfolio, the project that actually matters to her. She started embarrassingly small with just one thing that mattered to her for 10 focused minutes. She began with sketching new design concepts and planning her creative projects for 10 minutes consistently. The magic isn't in the specific hour on the clock. It's about defending clear boundaries. Before starting GEIKO, Yuki felt like she was living for everyone else's schedules and priorities constantly. CHANTO SURU, doing things fully. By mid-morning, Yuki's workspace reveals a practice most people never consider but changes everything about productivity and focus. What if you're exhausted because you're doing everything halfway instead of doing too much work? Multitasking kills your productivity by 40%, but you design with Spotify, check messages, and browse Pinterest simultaneously. Stanford studied multitaskers and found they perform worse on literally every single measure they tested. The Japanese have a concept called CHANTO SURU, which means doing things properly and completely. Single tasking reduces mental fatigue by 40%, and you make fewer mistakes needing correction later. Yuki picks her most important task today and gives it 25 minutes of pure, focused attention. She closes every other tab, puts her phone in another room, no Spotify with lyrics playing. Watch Yuki wash her breakfast dishes, and every movement is intentional and deliberately placed for completion. This presence practice transformed her design work from scattered to exceptional in one semester completely. Balanced Japanese breakfast. At 7 a.m., while most students grab cereal or skip breakfast entirely, Yuki prepares something fundamentally different for her body and brain. Your breakfast makes you exhausted by 10 a.m., and here's exactly why that happens to you. That bowl of cereal spikes your blood sugar 3 times higher than a Japanese breakfast would. American breakfast has 350 calories, 5 grams protein, 60 grams sugar that crashes you fast. Japanese breakfast has 400 calories, 25 grams protein, and balanced macronutrients for sustained energy. University of Missouri found high-protein breakfast increases dopamine, which is your focus and motivation chemical today. Fermented foods like miso reduce anxiety because your gut produces 90% of your body's serotonin. Yuki prioritizes protein first, includes fermented food, minimizes processed sugar in her breakfast every day. She makes scrambled eggs with vegetables, adds a small serving of kimchi on the side. After fixing her breakfast, she realized the problem wasn't her discipline or creative talent at all. It was her blood sugar roller coaster, starting the day wrong from the very beginning. Teinei na Seikatsu, polite, present living. At 6 p.m., instead of rushing to the next thing like she used to, Yuki moves through her evening with deliberate intention and mindful presence. You rush through everything like assignments, meals, and conversations, then wonder why you're scattered and anxious. The Japanese call the solution Teinei na Seikatsu, which means living politely or deliberately with clear intention. This isn't about formal etiquette at all. It's about treating objects, spaces, and people with respect. When Yuki treats her design tools carefully, she feels more organized internally in her mind and life. When her physical workspace is orderly, her mental space feels orderly too, which reduces anxiety. Yuki picks 3 daily actions and makes them intentional. Eat without phone nearby. Give full attention when talking to people, and close tasks properly before moving on. Moving slowly through small tasks doesn't waste time at all. It reduces mental clutter significantly. Yuki used to feel perpetually behind on everything. Now she feels present and in control of time. The power of open space. At 3 p.m., when her design workload peaks and deadlines loom, Yuki intentionally stops working for exactly 10 minutes of doing absolutely nothing at all. Back-to-back design sessions destroy your cognitive brain power by roughly 50% overall, significantly and measurably. But 10 minutes of empty space between them restores your mental capacity completely and effectively. Microsoft studied back-to-back meetings using brain sensors and found stress kept building without breaks, but reset completely with 10-minute gaps. Means the intentional space between things, and in Japanese art, empty space matters as much as content. Your brain has the default mode network, which turns on during rest, not sleep state. This is when insight happens, when your brain connects dots and solves creative problems deeply. University of Southern California research proves DMN activation during rest leads to aha moments consistently. Yuki schedules white space, like she schedules client meetings or classes, treats it as equally important and non-negotiable. Her best design ideas don't come from grinding harder. They come from creating intentional space. KANSHA, daily gratitude. Every evening at 9 p.m., Yuki opens her journal and writes 3 specific moments from her day that sparked genuine appreciation and gratitude within her. Every Japanese meal starts with saying itadakimasu, which thanks everyone who touched your food today. This 2-second practice is a gratitude ritual, and researchers found it increases happiness by 25%. You focus on what's wrong, what's missing, what's broken, instead of what's working around you. Depression rates for Gen Z are up, even though we have more comfort than any generation in history. Robert Emmons at UC Davis ran a 10-week study, and the gratitude group had 25% higher happiness. They exercised more, had fewer health complaints, and even had better sleep quality at night. Your brain strengthens whatever neural pathways you use most through repetition. which is neuroplasticity in action. Every night before bed, Yuki writes 3 specific things she's grateful for, like client loved final design or friend shared helpful design resource today. This practice changed how Yuki processes her challenging days, working as a freelance designer with demanding clients. SANPO, walking for pleasure. At lunch break, instead of eating at her desk like most of her peers, Yuki walks out the door without her phone or any specific destination in mind. You can't think clearly when you're stuck at your desk, staring at the same design problem for hours. A 10-minute walk boosts creative problem solving by 60% according to Stanford University. The Japanese call this simple practice SANPO, and it's your mental reset button for clarity. SANPO is a walk with no purpose, except walking itself and being outside briefly for mental space. Walking increases creative thinking by 60% compared to sitting according to Stanford research findings. Yuki walks 10 minutes after lunch with no destination in mind at all. Just movement and breath, no phone in hand, no AirPods playing podcasts or music constantly. Just her and her thoughts. She walks and notices things like building colors changing in light, bird sounds nearby, air temperature on skin. After discovering SANPO, she treats her walking break as sacred time that makes her better at creative work.